Before we jump into this, I just want to say there's quite a few people watching online this morning. A few people with poorly children, a few people poorly themselves. It's great to have people online as well as in the room, and so you're going to enjoy this. You'll need the second mic. I'm going to leave this here and hand you over to Nikki.
Thank you. I'm going to invite a couple of people up in a minute just to have a talk about the Life Skills course, but I thought, probably slightly scarily, I haven't got any notes, so I'm hoping, but Colin encouraged me this morning and saying, you know, there's a lot of wisdom in a rambling, so I'm hoping that some of this rambling actually makes sense. My first confession is, as the CAP Life Skills manager, that I kind of forgot it was CAP Sunday this week until Ant messaged me, and I was like, oh, when's that? And he went, this Sunday, and I went, oh, okay, that's really not good. But actually, I think sometimes, you know, within that, in our inadequacies, that God actually does speak to us and help us to actually, you know, to have the right message at the right time. And I would say from this morning, I was reading my Bible in a year, and it was talking about Job. And a lot of the theme around the worship this morning, it all kind of links in around this idea of that Job, we're in Job 27 to 29, and the fact that Job recognized the power of God. And that was actually some of the worship this morning. You know, the battle belongs to God. And I don't know about you, but if you look at the whole cost of living crisis and everything that's happening, it's like, oh my word, I don't know what to do. Well, actually, we have to remember that God is all powerful and that the battle belongs to God in all of this. And we just have to be faithful. And actually, as a lot of the message was last week with Conference Sunday about being faithful and taking those steps out in faith. But the other element that Job recognized is actually he had an intimate friendship with God. And so a lot of the things that he talks about what he did and how he was because of that friendship with God. And because of that relationship, he was able to see people how God saw them. And I think for me, that's a massive challenge. I went to London yesterday with my mum. We went to see Mary Poppins. Again, this is my rambling now. It's like, how do you get Jesus and Mary Poppins? I'm not comparing Jesus to Mary Poppins, just let you know. But anyway, the stage show of Mary Poppins is based on the film, but it's very different. But one of the things is, you know, it talks about this upside down world. It talks about this, you know, anything being possible. That's what Mary, you know, the songs. And you're looking at this family who look like they've got it all, but actually they're falling apart. And Mary Poppins comes in and helps them to see actually what they need to do. And there's just one line. They've got this. I used to love the Bird Lady on the steps of the St Paul's Cathedral, and she appears a few times throughout the theatre show, and just as a way of, you know, engaging with the children. And they look at her originally and kind of going, well, you know, we shouldn't talk to her. That's what they've been taught. They shouldn't talk to her. And then Mary Poppins says something. She says, you know, actually, when will you look past what you see on the outside? And I think for me, that was just like, gosh, actually, how often do I look at not just maybe, you know, hopefully not people like that, but actually situations? Do we always just look at the outside of situations? Do we always just look at kind of what we see at face value? And actually, it's that intimate relationship with Jesus, as always, that helps us to see what is going on in the world. What is, you know, it's about Jesus wants to change our hearts to make us more like him, so that we're actually focusing on him. And I think for me, that was just one of those things that was really kind of it sort of struck me. You know, we have these really big situations. It's really difficult, and we don't know what to do. And sometimes that can paralyze us and make us go, oh, what do I do? But it's remembering God is all powerful. God is in control. The battle belongs to God. And as we praise and worship all of those fears and difficulties, you know, that is about coming into God's presence and expanding that. But when it comes to the one, so Mother Teresa said, actually, sometimes we just feel a bit like, what can I do? Well, Mother Teresa very wisely said, well, you know, You start with the person in front of you. You start with the one person at a time. And that's then, about our intimate relationship with Jesus, about us seeing actually that one person. How does Jesus see that person? And that's really his heart. And for me, I think that's kind of what the Life Skills course is about. It's about that relationship. And I think all of us probably know one person who maybe, we need to draw alongside. We need to get in relationship with a bit more, who's, we're all struggling in different ways. And I'm not saying that I'm standing up here going, oh, we're all fine. It's like, actually, we can all be that one person for somebody else who, needs it at this time. It's, we are going into difficult times, but us remembering that the battle belongs to God, and, but celebrating the work of CAP and how amazing that charity is because of one man who God gave the vision and the heart to actually make a difference. We can all just help with that one person. So we have got, we do run Life Skills course, and we've run a few courses recently. Unfortunately, the latest one, for one reason or another, the people have not been able to continue. So we're having a little bit of a break and just, regrouping and working out when we're going to start our next course again. But, I could be looking at that and going, gosh, wow, what's the point? Let's be honest, thinking this is hard work, but actually we can all help, and actually trusting in God that he will help us to be able to reach the people that we need to. And, I learn so much from the course every single time I do it. And, it takes a lot of time to put things into practice. And I think, that's what we're just saying. If, we could all help and talk to one person, then that would make a big difference, I think. But I just wanted to invite Chelsea and Janice up, if they will come, just to share, because they've both done the course. So rather than me rambling on anymore, hoping it was a helpful ramble. I haven't got any questions.
You haven't got?
No, that was supposed to be my sort of notes. So it's just really, you guys have done the course with us. And so two of my other coaches are not here this morning, so unfortunately for you, you've just got me. So Christina and Pam are not here. But so yeah, I just wondered if you could share something of what you liked about the course and anything that you think has been significant going forward.
I did the course twice, one on Zoom, one in person. And being in person was definitely, you had that connection with other people. Being a young person, I also got the connection with people that have done life more than I have. That's a nice way to put it. And so I've learned a lot off of them as well as from the course. Like they came and brought their... and equally, you learn a lot of stuff that they don't teach you in school, like they teach you all the rubbish stuff, when actually you need to be learning about how to do life. But no.
Did you have a week, that you, did you have a favourite week or did you like all of it?
Being a creative person, I liked the creative weeks. Cooking, we learned that I can't cook very well. But Janice can keep me in check when we're cooking. And everyone learned how fussy I was. But I did learn that I'm just going to go spend an evening at everyone's house and eat at their house when I move out, so I don't have to cook for myself. So it'll be great. Keep an eye. There'll be a schedule outside.
Well, I enjoy everything about it, especially when it tells you how to... It's okay. I enjoy everything about it because I get to interact with people, and it helps me to understand how to save money, really, and how to control it, and especially when you're making meals, how you can, control it and not overspend when you go to the shop. Every time I go to the shop, I buy something, and sometimes I put it down. And I says, okay, I'll go to it, but I never go back to it. And now I look at things and I go to the shops or anything like that and I says, oh, I'm not having that, you know. And I really save a lot by doing that. Even with my meals, I won't buy too many and stock it in the fridge. I buy what I want to eat now and not to buy it and throw it away next day or so. I cook and I eat it for the next day. And I'll put some in the freezer so it saves me from keep buying. And the relationship and everything with it, you know, what Nikki talked about. And it's very important for me to learn all these things. And I'm glad that I came to CAP and hear what's going on with it. Thank you.
No, I think that's the thing, isn't it? It is about that being together and chatting and like Chelsea was saying, like learning from other people of, you know, of what, I mean, every single time I do the course, I keep saying I need to meal plan better, and every single time I don't, and then I do, and then it works so much better, and I'm like, oh, why don't I do this? And this is my kind of, you know, but I think that's the thing, it's being together, and it's being and helping each other through, and I think that's just really important. And it is an amazing course when you're looking at, you know, you're not just looking at one element, you are looking at every area of life.
Yeah, I would like to say, anyone here who hasn't joined it, please come and join it. You learn a lot from it.
And bring a friend.
Yes, bring a friend with you.
Yeah, I think that's part of it. Is that relationship, that being, you know, bringing somebody else along, and recognizing that we don't do everything, you know, and that's part of the church, isn't it? We don't do it on our own. We do it together with other people. So, and I think we have got a video now from CAP. Is that right?
Looking back on it, it's actually quite frightening. And I'm not a guy that frightens easily, but that, looking back on it, it is actually quite frightening that he got to that point.
Hiya.
Oh, that's it.
You must be Becky.
Yeah,
Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you.
So this is your
This
house
is
chair then?
Shay Sid, yes.
Like, and think of a shoe.
Yes, no problem. So lovely to meet you. Can I do the tea or
My name's Sid. I'm 58 years old. In my younger life, I was well into sport, cricket, rugby, boxing. Used to get paid for playing cricket and rugby. Actually playing cricket with Ian Botham, Graham Hick, Tom Moody, virtually half the England side were at Worcester at that time. I seriously injured myself, which meant that my sporting career was not over, but it would never be professional as I wanted it to be. I was still able to play a bit of village cricket. I actually had an accident at work and something fell on my head, and they took me up and gave me an x-ray, and this lovely little chap came through and he said, oh, we found something that's not there, not supposed to be there. And I went, oh, you mean a brain? And he said, no, you've got a tumour. And I said, no, I'm indestructible, me, I don't get things like that. Can't happen to me. Brain tumour was operated on April 2015. Pretty much a year later, was diagnosed with Crohn's, which is quite a nasty stomach disorder. Admitted to hospital, and just before I was admitted to hospital, my mother passed away, who I've been looking after for a few years, quite suddenly as well. It turned out I was suffering from a very severe depression because of what had been going on. And obviously during that time as well, I was getting into debt without actually knowing I was getting into debt. I was on some quite heavy-duty medication, and it just spiralled. So pretty much everybody you could owe money to, I owed money to. The nurse came into the room and she said, can I get you anything? I said, no, just shut the door and let me die. I'd had enough. The will to fight it had just gone. So they looked after me in hospital and fixed the broken bits again and got me up and running. And when I came out, someone referred me or said to me, if you've got problems, give these people a ring, and gave me a card. And when I got home is when I made the phone call to CAP. I tried to collect everything that was relevant to what was going on, so letters and bills and all the correspondence. And everything was explained, which puts you so much at ease because you actually, for the first time, know what's going on. And then Andrew said to me, I'll give you some, he actually gave me a load of prepaid envelopes. If anything comes, send this off to CAP. If they ask for anything, send this off to CAP. Here's an envelope, you don't have to worry about a stamp or anything. And for the first time, think, crikey, there's a way out of this, you know. It was like a weight being lifted off my shoulders. Brilliant. That's when Andrew dropped the bombshell. Did you fancy coming to church on Sunday, Sid? So I said, no, all right, no, that'd be nice. That'd be nice, come along. And I turned up knowing two people, Andrew and Chris. When I left, 20 plus people, see you next week, Sid, have a good week, see you next week. Oh, I'm going, crikey, it's a bit different, isn't it? They're all very nice. That was 4 years ago, but maybe a bit longer. And apart from the times when I've been in hospital, I've not missed a Sunday. I see things totally differently now. My whole attitude is different now. I wake up every day, and every day is now a lovely day.
And to watch the transformation, both physically and spiritually, to sort of lifting the real Sid back into life. It's almost like a resurrection type thing. From where he was, through the process to where he is, full of spirit, full of life.
He gets involved in all the meetings we do, our small groups, our worship meetings, as well as our regular Sunday meetings, and we believe God is good and God can do things, and Sid is a testimony to that, so it's been a real delight and a pleasure for us.
Without CAP, Gary, Andrew and Chris and the church, I actually would rather not think about where I would be now. It really has made that much of a difference to my life. And unfortunately, with the current financial climate, it's with real sadness that I think CAP are only going to get busier. So people need to know that there are people out there who care, firstly, and secondly, can actually help. It's that sense of belonging and the sense of friendship. To me, it is priceless.
Great. Let's give these guys a round of applause. Thank you for sharing. So one of the other things that CAP sort of ask in their format for the CAP Sunday is that we take some time to pray. And I was really encouraged by by that story. It was great to hear Sid share his story, the difference that CAP made, and it got my attention on a number of levels. And this is kind of how I want to encourage us to pray today. The first thing I'd like us to pray for, and I'm going to encourage you to move out from your seats and turn and talk to somebody next to you or behind you, is to just pray for the work of CAP, like nationally. Like, that's one story. But I'm sure of all of the CAP debt centre managers, all of the CAP projects, all of the communities that CAP work in, there would be many, many stories like that, of people in desperate need, of people struggling in debt, of people struggling in depression. And so I want us to pray, not just for one person, one place, but that actually in every community that somehow through the local church, through advertising, through word of mouth, that CAP would be able to reach those people, that the referrals would come at the right time and the right place, that there would be the resource of volunteers, the resource of time to meet those people where they are. So if you want to get in groups of maybe like 3 or 4, depending on where you're sat, you might need to turn around. You could just pray with the people on your row. And let's just spend a few moments praying together for the work of CAP nationally, for all of the debt centres, all of the projects. They run groups. Life Skills is one of them, but they do a job club, they do a money course, and many other things. So let's just spend a few moments praying together, praying for the work of CAP across the country.